Clydebank is a club that has always interested me. Situated on the western edge of Glasgow, it has endured an uneasy existence between the might of the Glasgow teams and the historical fame of the three great clubs from the Vale of Leven, Renton, Dumbarton and the Vale of Leven. The first Clydebank FC played in the Scottish Football League between 1914 and 1931. I will leave you to argue whether or not they are related to the Clydebank FC of the 1880s or the Clydebank FC of 1899. A closer link might be made to the Clydebank Juniors of 1900, who at least can have claimed to have played at a stadium called Kilbowie, even if it wasn't exactly the same one that hosted the Clydebank that just about crept into the 21st century. This story has few uplifting, life-affirming moments, except for the various groups of fans from the three different clubs who fought to keep something alive from the ashes of the dead or dying entities that they supported. My walk-on part in this nightmare came in 2002. I was one of the spectators at the lowest ever league gate in Scotland. Clydebank had only weeks to live and were homeless. In a delicious irony, they played East Stirling at Capello, Greenock Morton's ground. I believe the official attendance was 29. I counted 51 people in the stand, but how many were present because they were on duty in some way, I cannot say. Like a one-hit wonder, I am proud to say that I witnessed a unique song belted out with gusto by the 13 East Stirling fans. Clydebank are gonna die, and we don't give a fuck. It lacked the wall of sound that Phil Spector would have engineered, but an insufficiency of volume was more than made up for by the barrage of venom. In 1964, the brothers Jack and Charlie Steedman were the owners of the East Stirlingshire FC. They merged this honourable and historic team into Clydebank Juniors, giving the new club the catchy title of ES Clydebank FC. For the geographically challenged amongst you, East Stirlingshire played in Falkirk and Clydebank didn't. The Frankenstein team played their home matches at Kilbowie in Clydebank, leaving the town of Falkirk bereft of one of its clubs. To those of you who think that football begins and ends with Skye, you might have little sympathy with two clubs whose gates rarely got above 1,000. You are dafties, and I have nothing more to say to you. There is no such thing as a big or little team. The only thing that matters is that your team can financially wash its face. If you can do that, then you deserve to live. If you pay your players £50,000 a week when you can only afford £10,000 a week, then hell mend you. I hope the Wraith Rovers Adam Smith Young Mental Squad turn up at your ground and kick your heads in. If you pay your players £500 a week when you can afford £525, then God bless you. Find your level and play out your days in innocent sporting enjoyment. It's nobody's business but your own. ES Clydebank lasted one season. The successful legal challenge by East Stirling fans saw their club disentangled from the Dumbartonshire Frankenstein to live again. I don't know why, but I can't help thinking of wee East Stirling jumping out of John Hurt's Clydebank chest and heading off towards the east coast and home. I would say Clydebank were reformed, but did they ever really exist? The Steedmans had the new team playing 1 year in the Combined Reserve League before being accepted into the Scottish Football League in 1966. I did go and watch Hibernian at Clydebank when I was planning the Scottish Football Museum. I sat on the wooden benches which the Steedmans had had fitted, making Kilbowie the first ground in Britain to be all-seater. This brought the stadium under the magical 10,000 capacity, beyond which they would have been obliged to adhere to more stringent stadium regulations. The Hibs fans seem to have as low an opinion of all-seater stadia as I do, because they invaded the pitch at the end of the game. If you are a pedant, you might point out that 2001-2002 was not the last season Clydebank played in the league. They were struggling, at the same time as Airdrieonians were being liquidated. Spearheaded by Jim Ballantyne, the Airdrie fans were quicker off the mark than Clydebank. Obstacles in their way were to be negotiated. Airdrieonians' league position was taken over by Gretna of the English Northern Premier League. In a masterstroke, the newly formed Airdrie United bought out the comatose but not yet dead Clydebank and relocated them to Airdrie. Therefore, Clydebank never really died. Airdrieonians did, to be replaced by the creature that crawled out of the von Steedman's laboratory. A team called Clydebank still exists. As with most footballing horror stories, the only people who don't run away screaming when the morning sun shines bleakly on a gutted bank balance are the fans. Airdrie United transferred the ownership of the name and logos related to the team, allowing Clydebank fans to start up a new club. More than 5,000 of them travelled to Kilmarnock's ground in 2009 to see them lose the Junior Cup final to Auchinleck Talbot. With friends like that, football will never die in Clydebank. East Stirlingshire still exist and created another unwanted record in Scottish football. In 2016, they became the first league club to be relegated into the new pyramid system. The young and thrusting Edinburgh City, the team once known as Postal United, passed them on the way up and out of the Lowland League. The link with the recent shenanigans at Glasgow Rangers cannot be ignored. Airdrieonians died because they could not service a £30,000 debt owed to the Carnegie Company, who had some of Airdrieonians' assets frozen by interdict. Carnegie were owned by David Murray, the chairman of Rangers FC, who were liquidated 10 years later as a result of his inability to properly run the finances of a football team.